Hi everyone, I'll be talking about kube-query today, and in this video I'll be jumping into why we developed kube-query, the motivation behind it, do a quick demo, and then go over a slight overview of the inner workings of kube-query. So in a nutshell, kube-query is a plugin for OS query. So you might be familiar with OS query. OS query is open source software that can query your hardware and other infrastructure across your fleet. And we've taken this simple idea and added and developed a Kubernetes plugin for it, where you can query your Kubernetes clusters from within OS query. So to give you a slight bit of motivation why we did this, a lot of people might not be familiar with the Kubernetes background, and they might not have the knowledge and the tool set and the skill set to be able to use tools such as kubectl when it comes to managing their Kubernetes infrastructure. But as we've seen in the past, the older the technology gets, the more people will be able to use it and know about it. So as you know, in OS query, it exposes a SQL-like interface for you to query your infrastructure. So we've taken that approach, made it simple for people to query their Kubernetes clusters, and as a result, it makes life simple for people who might not be familiar with other tools like kubectl. So I'll give you a quick demo of how it works. In the top pane, as you can see, I'm running kube-query, which is it runs as a daemon, as a broker for OS query, providing it with Kubernetes specific data. And on the second pane, I will be running kubectl commands that some of you might be familiar with today. And on the bottom pane, as you can see, I have OS query. And I'll be showing an equivalent command of the first command that I run inside of OS query, and you can see how easy it will be to use kube-query. So I'll start out with something simple. Let's say if you wanted to query all pods that are running across all of your namespaces, and you wanted to get their IP addresses with the output. So in kubectl today, you might do something like this, where you ask for all namespaces, and then you customize your column, and you pick the columns that you want. In this case, we want IP and status. So as you can see, you get the desired output with the name and the IP address. Now, doing this in kube-query will be slightly simpler. As you can see, all you have got to do is do a select on Kubernetes pod's name and Kubernetes pod's IP for these two fields that you need, and we're basically going to pick them up from the Kubernetes pods table. As you can see, we get the same output in a tabular form, much simpler to read and understand without any need for custom columns and such. Now let's take an example of combining multiple sources where, let's say you want to have you want to view privilege pods that are running across your namespaces. And you might be doing this for security reasons. You don't want to have any privilege pods that are running in your namespaces. You might have an IT policy that prohibits that, so you might want to write a monitor. So today in kubectl, we'll do something like this, where do kubectl get pods, cross all namespaces again, and then you specify a JSON path in which you can specify the range of items that you want to iterate over, the metadata that you want. In this case, we want the name. We'll add a tab to purify our output, and then we want the container image, as we want to be able to see what image it's running on those privilege pods. And then we want the namespace with it. So if we do this today, you'll see the output And as you can see, it's what we want, but it's slightly complicated to be able to run something like that. So it's again going back to OS query and kube-query. You could do something like this where simply select the fields that you want, like in the previous example. In this case, you want the name, container's image, and the namespace the container is running on. You pick the table that you want. In this case, it's Kubernetes containers table. And you do a join, as you might be familiar with SQL, over the Kubernetes pods table. And then you pick the fields that are common between the two, and here we also happen to specify pods that are unprivileged. When we do this, you see there's a kube proxy pod running inside of the kube system namespace with the particular image. So now I'll be talking a little bit about how it works behind the scenes. Kube-query extension is written in Go, talks over to OS query over Thrift, and the backend talks to the Kubernetes API to gather all the results that it needs to should be able to show the OS query output. And if you want to learn more on how it works, head over to Aqua Security, GitHub organization, and you can find kube-query as an open source project. Thanks.